There are very few men on this planet who are as bad to the bone as this gentleman I've got on today. Mr. Frank Noska, one of the most accomplished bow hunters of all time. I want you to hear me when I say this. Frank is just a couple animals away from completing the North American Super Slam for the third time. That is mind-blowingly impressive. All with archery equipment. Every one of them with a bow. He is the king of cows deer hunting. He is the king of blending into his surroundings and getting close to animals and getting an arrow in them. I've oftentimes talked about this killer instinct that a lot of dudes have. And if they see an animal, they're going to get it done. That is Frank. Frank is an absolute killer. He's one of the best bow hunters you will ever have the chance to hear from. So we talk through just all of Frank's bow hunting journeys. We talk about his start as a bow hunter, how he got to where he's at now. We talk about what's next for Frank. We talk about some of his most incredible encounters, which includes being attacked by a grizzly bear. Yes, being attacked, getting dealt with by a grizzly bear. That's enough to keep me off the mountain for a while, not Frank. He got right back in there, right back in the hunt, and got it done because that's what Frank does. He is an incredibly nice guy. He is an incredibly informative guy. As somebody who's seen and done it all, he's got something for you. Guys, this episode is brought to you by my friends over at 2O, who makes some of the best Western gear on planet Earth. And Frank has become, for me, a sounding board guy. If I want to try something new or try something different, I ask Frank what he thinks of it. At the Pope and Young convention, got some of the 2O gear in his hand and just asked him what he thought of the gear. Now, obviously, he hasn't spent time in it in the mountains, hasn't pushed it to its limits. However, he had nothing but great things to say about the pattern, the fit, the feel, the quality. It's great gear. Now, I have pushed it to the limits in just about every way possible. Every way that I could think of. Hunting in super hot weather, super cold weather, busting up and down the mountain, sitting in tree stands, busting through nasty Texas brush. I've tried it all. And the gear just simply performs every time. Guys, if you are in the market for any new technical Western gear that comes in an incredibly sexy pattern, go check out 2O. You will be glad that you did. Here's what I'll tell you. As somebody who lives in merino, I love merino wool. I have not put any socks on my feet other than merino in the better part of 5 years. That's for everyday life, not just for hunting. I love merino. 2O does merino just about, well, they do it better than anybody I've ever worn merino by. It's incredible. Their rain gear is second to none. Guys, I would highly encourage you, if you are in the market for Western gear, go check out 2O. It's phenomenal. You'll be impressed with it. I promise. That's 2O, T-U-O gear. It's great stuff. Guys, let's jump in with Mr. Frank Noska, one of the best bow hunters on planet Earth.
For the true sportsman, it's more than a pastime. It's a way of life. Embrace the lifestyle of hunting, fishing, and the thrill of the wild. Live the life. Be typical.
Guys, there are a lot of names that you can trust in the archery world. However, not many stick out as much as the name Lancaster Archery. Guys, if you've been around archery or bow hunting at all, you've probably heard of Lancaster. Why? That's because they're experts, and that's because they're your one-stop shop for all things archery. I've never needed something and not found it at Lancaster. I've also been able to find reviews and tips using the product that I needed that Lancaster had. Guys, Lancaster is phenomenal. They are experts in the trade. They know the equipment because they use the equipment. And you can pretty much get anything you've ever needed archery related at lancasterarchery.com. You can also learn about the products you need on their YouTubes, in their videos, on their social media. You can also get tips about how to use the products. Guys, Lancaster is a phenomenal one-stop shop. And here's what I'll tell you. Sometimes you gotta be mindful of who you're taking information from. You don't have to worry about it at all when it comes to Lancaster. I put full faith in the guys over at Lancaster. They know the products. They sell the products. They give you advice on the products. They give you support on the products. You can call and ask them anything. They'll get you lined out. They'll sell it to you, and then they'll support you even after you buy it and you need help figuring it out. Guys, go check out LancasterArchery.com for everything you need archery related. Mr. Frank Noska, how the heck are you, man?
I'm busy. How you doing, Dylan?
You are busy, man. You're one of the hardest people to get on a podcast ever.
I know. I apologize for that. I'm going to make up for it. I should do three of them pretty fast.
It's like I'll text you on a Tuesday and you're like, I'm down in Mexico, and then by Thursday you're in like Asia. It's like I don't even know how you do this, man.
Yeah, I stay pretty busy, but it's fun. I keep up with it.
Now, before, man, I got a lot of questions. I have had the pleasure of doing a podcast with you before, back in the Pope and Young days when Pope and Young had their podcast. But I've never had you on the Typical Sportsman podcast. So I'm excited to dive into this. And I introduced you as, probably the best bow hunter that people have probably never heard of, which I admire, man. Like I tell people, it's not like he's got a TV show, doesn't have a podcast, don't even do a lot on social media. You just go out and stink and kill stuff. Like that's all you are, is a straight up killer.
Well, I don't do a lot of social media. I do a little bit. I'm doing a little bit more and more of it all the time. But I'm not on the computer all the time. I don't post everything that I kill on Facebook and stuff. So no, yeah, that's kind of me. I network with a ton of our mutual friends and lots of Pope and Young guys and lots of bow hunters around the country. I'm really good friends with that we share information about different hunts and species and knowledge and stuff. But that's just kind of, I just run in circles like that. Yeah.
Well, a lot of people, and because of the world I work in, a lot of people ask me like, who's the best bow hunter you've ever got to meet? And, they're expecting like a Chuck Adams or a Tom Miranda or a big name, Michael Waddell, somebody that is quote unquote famous for hunting. And I'm like, Frank Noska. Like, who is that? And I'm like, exactly. Like, but that's what I admire, man, that you just do it because you absolutely love it. Like, so with that being said, how did you get into bow hunting? Like, where did this start?
Yeah. A lot of people know I was born and raised in Texas, and that's where it all started. I didn't come from a bow hunting family like a lot of people do or introduced to it. I didn't even come from a hunting family. My dad and we started fishing when I was young, and got into fishing, pretty big at a young age, and bass fishing in the South and Texas. And then I was just naturally always, for some reason, always attracted to archery and bow hunting, and I don't know. It was just something inside of me that drew me to it. And so I just searched out people that shot bows and hunted, and was fortunate enough to meet some bass fishermen that my dad and I fished with early on in Texas that were shooting bows and hunting whitetail deer in Texas. And they kind of took me under their wing and started teaching me how to hunt and make arrows and tune bows and went down that road and then took off running from there.
Now, what age is that? Like, where did you start hunting at?
I probably started shooting arrows and learning in middle school.
Very cool. So about the same age, like as the normal, would start hunting, but just came from an outside source other than family.
Yeah. Now, some of my family, like my uncle, Bill Smith, he was a rifle hunter. I did have some family that rifle hunted that I was, so I did learn a lot from them. He actually took me on my first hunt where I did kill a deer with my first deer that I killed. And that also sparked a spark. And then I think I shot just 2 more deer with a rifle. I think I only shot 3 deer with a rifle. And then I went all in with bow hunting and hadn't shot at anything with a gun since. So I was like 44, maybe 44 years or something.
Wow. And just so, and I say this because I know Frank is a humble guy. Like I don't think that you can comprehend how many animals this guy has shot. Not only how many animals he shot, but how many absolute mega giant studs that he has shot. Last I heard, you were 4 animals away from completing the Super Slam for the 3rd time. Is that still the case?
Well, actually, I'm 2 animals away now. 2 animals away. So
2 animals away. Which is just, so the Super Slam, the North American Super Slam is all 29 big game animals in North America with a bow. Not with that's not the Super Slam, but Frank has done it with a bow. So Frank has completed all 29 North American big game animals, not once, not twice. Now he's only 2 animals away from having completed it the 3rd time, which for most guys, completing it once is a pipe dream. Like most guys won't ever sniff that, much less complete it, especially with a bow. And now Frank is knocking on the door of doing it for the 3rd time. When did that become like, I'm going to do this? Like the Super Slam, I'm running after it.
That all started, basically, to go back, I started bow hunting in Texas, hunting whitetails, and then that expanded. Then I expanded out west when I got into college, and as I grew up and matured and started hunting elk and antelope and mule deer and all that, and got into aviation, which I made my career out of flying. Now I'm an airline pilot, and then so I was able to move to Alaska about 25 years ago. By choice, I wanted to move to Alaska just for the sporting opportunities, the bow hunting primarily, but do a lot of salmon fishing also. But when I moved up there, then that opened up a whole nother realm of opportunities. As everybody knows, all the different animals that are up in Alaska. So that's really when the first Super Slam pipe dream of mine came into reality. I thought, man, I can do this, because I already had the mule deer and the antelope, the pronghorn and the elk and the mountain, the cougar and all that kind of stuff. So then I started getting some of these other species that are pretty hard to get if you don't live in Alaska, and then I started counting them up, and that's when it started growing and happening.
Now, in your opinion, as somebody who is on their 3rd round, what is, and not necessarily the hardest tags to get, the hardest, hunt to pull off, but in your opinion, out of the 29, what's the hardest to actually to chase and pursue? Like if tags were no option, like of course, some of the sheep and polar bears, some of those types of animals are harder to actually get on the hunt. But as far as actually chasing down and killing the animal, what's been the hardest pursuit of yours?
Well, I went on a hunt just a couple of weeks ago and was unsuccessful on a Roosevelt elk hunt. And I know Roosevelt elk hunts give guys runs for their money. They're not super easy to accomplish. It's not a super easy hunt to pull off. So, and I know I did an article for Kurt Wells in Bowhunter magazine years ago. He wanted me to rate the species, the 29 species of easiest or the least difficult to the most difficult, I think, with money not being an option. And I know Roosevelt elk were probably in the top 5 of the hardest to get, and a mature animal, a Roosevelt elk, and I've got whitetail up at the top. I mean, a mature whitetail with a bow is not no easy feat either, And,
really?
Yeah. But Roosevelt elk, they're just kind of hard. They're one of the elk that are one of the top of the 3 that are, harder to get with a bow, I think.
Now, that's interesting. Is it just the terrain they live in? Is it, there's not as many of them? I mean, what is the...
It's the terrain they live in. They live in some real thick, kind of rainforest type country on the West Coast. They're not as vocal as the elk in Colorado and New Mexico that most people are used to. So they don't call as good. They do call, and they are vocal, but they're not as vocal. There's not as many opportunities. The Yellowstone or other elk are all Rocky Mountain elk are all through the Rocky Mountains, so there's a lot more opportunities to hunt them than the Roosevelt. they're just hard to get close to and get an arrow in a mature animal a lot of times for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So
that's interesting. So what would be, and I want people to listen here because, I hear it all the time. They're like, man, I want to start hunting different things, but I don't know where to start. Don't know what to do. I hear that all the time. So for the guy who is, they've grew up, they're addicted to whitetail hunting. That's, that's the only thing in their state, or maybe that's just, the easiest access to get to. I mean, what would you say? Hey, these are 2 or 3 like easy to accomplish. You're not going to go kill yourself on the hunt. Odds are going to be good. You'll have a chance to kill one. What would you say those hunts are?
Oh, that's pretty easy for me to answer. I would say I'd tell guys to go out west, out to the Rocky Mountain states, Colorado, Wyoming, Montana, and bow hunt pronghorn antelope for one. Super fun hunt, fairly high success. I mean, I guess we got to get something on the record first. There's nothing easy with a bow, even the most easiest that we think we're going to kill. I mean, I've been on pronghorn antelopes that I thought were going to be 2-day hunts that, day 12, I was thinking I may not even get an antelope. So nothing's easy with a bow. It's always hard. It seems like it can be hard for you. It always throws, there's always difficulty in getting in some of these animals to get killed. But yeah, I'd tell people to go out west and start networking with ranchers and outfitters and guides and landowners for, and get opportunities to hunt pronghorn antelope, and then maybe mule deer and then elk out there. Those 3, are very readily available and not too expensive. And they're located all across the Rocky Mountain states. And then that just leads into Showers moose, and you're going to see mountain goats and bighorn sheep on those hunts. And then that's going to pique your interest, and you're going to start trying to figure out how to get tags and hunts for those. And then it just leads off. That's exactly how my bow hunting career started. I got out west and killed antelope. Was my second big game species after a whitetail deer and a pronghorn antelope. And then you're out there hunting antelope, and you're seeing mule deer, and you're seeing elk and backs of trucks, and then you're seeing them in fields. So you try to figure out how to get tags for elk and mule deer, and so then you accomplish that, and then you see bighorn sheep on the side of the road and mountain goats up on the hill, and you try to figure out. You start asking questions and doing research and reading and networking, and you figure out how to get tags for those and put in for the drawings and raffles and stuff like that, and it just keeps growing from that,
Yeah. What about black bear? I mean, in my opinion, they're a pretty easy species to hunt.
Yeah, black bear's a really good one too. It's just I'd say all the good hunts for a black bear up in Canada. So it's not a difficulty at all, but it's one more little step going up to Canada hunting. But it's a little harder than going to Wyoming and hunting pronghorn antelope if you live in the Midwest. But yeah, black bear are great animal to bow hunt, and one to get started.
And
on.
now, we just Pope and Young just recognized javelina as a big game species. That's a really, really good hunt.
Right.
Affordable, fun, easy. Javelina aren't an incredibly smart animal. They don't have great eyesight. So it's a really good animal to practice spot and stalk on. Same for pigs. However, if we're looking for big game that are recognized by, Boone and Crockett and Pope and Young, javelina are, because they are a managed big game species where pigs are not. And so, but javelina is a really good option now. How many javelina do you have that you can just go ahead and throw in the book? Like, have never been able to do it before, but now you can.
Yeah, it's a good question. I've got some of them laid out. I hadn't got them measured yet though, but that's right. That's on my list to do. I don't know, not a ton of them. I've shot several over the years, but I haven't kept the skulls on them. So I probably got half a dozen or so at the house that I get looking back up.
Because you do a ton of hunting down in Mexico. Where javelinas run thick.
Yeah, a lot of javelinas down there, and we shoot a lot of javelinas down to Mexico. And I'm kind of interested in starting to measure, me being a measurer also, and seeing the sizes of these skulls in these different places, and seeing if they're Pope and Young minimum sizes, or I'm interested in seeing how that's going to learn more about that.
So when did the journey into like the measuring game start? Like not only you becoming a measurer, but when did you go, hey, I want to start putting some of these animals in the books, get them recognized?
Well, a guy, Tommy Carruthers down in Denton, Texas, used to measure most of my stuff when I lived in Texas. When I first started shooting Pope and Young animals, my very first Pope and Young animal was a pronghorn antelope also. And then I'll never forget that, searching him out, taking it and get it measured. And then I started killing, then I killed another one. And then I started killing them more frequently. And so I started ringing his phone more and going to see him more. And I was always interested in the process, and he could tell that I was engaged and I wanted to watch and learn, and I studied up on it. So he kind of mentored me and he sponsored me to become a Boone and Crockett measure. So I actually became a Boone and Crockett measure first. And I think it's just from me starting to kill more and more trophy animals. I started taking them to get them measured. Then, I learned the system, and I wanted to do it for other people. So that's how I got into the measuring system.
And I will say this, Frank is the perfect example. The perfect steward of Pope and Young, in my opinion, because how many animals do you have in the books currently?
I got a few over 200. I got about 10 I'm getting ready to send in to you guys. so like 215 or something like that.
Which is just unreal. I might be wrong. If I am, don't sue me. I think the only person that has more is Chuck Adams. But hey, you're a lot younger than Chuck. He's had a lot more go of it than you have. But I'm not taking anything from Chuck. Chuck is a phenomenal hunter. However, you're talking over 200 animals. And like I said, Frank is not a chest pounder. He's not a put it all on social media. He's not a writing a bunch of articles, doing podcasts, making TV shows. Frank doesn't put the animals in the book to make Frank look good. Like he's not a chest pounder that has to do that and has to get the recognition for how good of a hunter he is. Frank puts the animals in the books because they deserve to be in a book amongst their peers, and because he recognizes that states need those data points, that we need to be seeing where the data points are coming, because Frank is a conservation-minded, ethical bow hunter, and he wants to give those data points for the benefit, not of him, not of to inflate himself, but for the betterment of conservation and wildlife management. And because the animal deserves it. The animal deserves to be in a book amongst its peers for everybody to celebrate, not just a trophy on the wall for Frank. Speaking of trophies on the wall, at what point did you have to go, okay, like I've got to set some standards here, because if I put every animal on the walls, I'm going to have to buy a third, fourth, fifth house to do this with. So what are your standards? Like if you kill a 150 whitetail, is it going on the wall?
I'm probably European most of those now. I do still mount a few animals, they have to be like really special, because I did mount a lot of stuff early on, and I got a lot of nice taxidermy, but I don't mount everything, shoulder mount everything anymore. But I do, keep it and keep most stuff on the skull, and European mount everything and display everything like that in Alaska.
Yeah.
Because, but no, but if it's extra special, I will mount it.
Now, what species do you have the most in the books of? Cow's deer?
Oh yeah, cow's deer. Yeah.
Yeah, you're kind of addicted to that, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm kind of addicted to cow's deer. Yeah. No, that all started. It's a great place to spend a couple months down in Sonora, Mexico. When you live in Alaska, that's the first thing that kind of started. There is some hunting to do up in Alaska and in that time of year, January, February, but not as much, And so that's where it all started. Me spending all that time down there, hunting myself in Sonora, and then taking a few really close friends, and then that spilled into a few more friends wanted to come hunting, and then a few more wanted to come hunting. So that's how that all started. So I'm real.
How do I become a friend? How do I get to friend status so I can come cows deer hunting? Oh, praise the Lord! Praise the Lord! And I'll never forget. Like I've been with Pope and Young now for 6 years, I believe. And so like right when I started, it was time to go to panel. And at that time we were firing off a podcast, like Pope and Young was trying to get their podcast up and running. So we were doing that, having a good time. And we go to panel, and my boss at the time, the executive director at the time, who we hosted the podcast together, he was like, man, one of our measures here, we need to try and get on. And I'm like, well, who is it? You know, who do we got? And he's like, we got to get on. We got to get Frank Noska on. And I'm like, never heard of him. Who is that? And he starts to share some accolades and some facts about old Frankie. And I'm like, holy crap. And then I meet him, and he's just one of the most genuine, always smiling, nice dudes. And I'll never forget, I asked you this, and I tell people this all the time now. Like, Frank, how do you even like begin to scratch the surface on affording these? Like, and no offense, I mean, you're not rolling up in a Rolls Royce. I mean, you're not, Jimmy John's. And so I'm like, what's going on here? Like, how do you afford this? And you looked at me as serious as you could. And you're like, dude, I drive I think you said 2008 pickup, and I carry liability insurance on it. I'm not married, don't have any kids. I don't buy a new bow every year. Like, my investments are hunting. Like, that's where I put my resources. And so I use it as an example. People will be like, man, Dylan, I wish I could go on an elk hunt. How do you even afford to do that? And I'm like, dude, you have a $7 coffee in your hands. Like, how often do you have one of those? And they're like, well, just one a day. And I'm like, $7 a day will pay for an elk hunt easily. And they're like, well, but, and I'm like, that's a priority, man. Or like, how do you afford to go on an elk hunt, Dylan? And I'm like, well, that smoking habit of yours, if you kick that, like you'd be able to afford an elk hunt. Like, in just simple changes, you can do these things with. And I really appreciated that answer, because I mean, I don't come from money. I can't afford to go on a bunch of hunts, but it really changed the way I look at things. I'm like, and at that time I was, I'd buy a new bow every year, which then you got to get new arrows, new sights, new rest, new quiver. You don't have to, but if I'm going to buy a new bow, I might as well deck it out with new stuff. And so I'm sitting there and I'm like, what he's saying is true. You spend $3,000 on equipment every year. I'd rather hunt more. Like, I'd rather go on more hunts than spend more money on equipment. And you got those guys that, they're decking themselves out in thousands of dollars worth of camo, and they're buying a new bow every year, and they're buying just so they can shoot whitetails in the back 40, which if that's what you want to do, great. But then they look at you, they say, man, I really wish I could afford to go on that hunt with you. And I'm like, you could, if you would prioritize hunting over gear and equipment and all these other things you're prioritizing over.
Right. I mean, yeah, that's the answer I give everybody. I mean, people are going to do what they want to do. They can prioritize and make sacrifices and work hard and make good decisions. And I mean, in this country, luckily we live in the best country on the planet. And I mean, you can do anything you want in this country. It don't matter what you start with. If you can prioritize and go into whatever kind of profession you want to, go to school where you want to, and bow hunt at whatever level you want to. That's what I tell people. You have to really want it. Right.
Yeah. So do you still drive that same 2008 pickup?
I got some pretty old trucks. I got a lot of trucks. I don't even know what model I'm driving now. Probably a 13. What is it? 20. Yeah. I'm probably driving a 10-year-old truck.
Hey, nothing wrong with that, man. You're going on some cool hunt. Well, speaking of that, where are you at right now?
Funny you ask. I'm in Delhi, India. Yeah. I'm in Delhi, India on a layover.
Are you on a hunt or are you flying?
No, I'm flying. I'm working on a work trip, and so yeah, you should thank me, Dylan, because I really worked around your schedule to make it. Or
he canceled a flight.
You're at a normal hour. I looked at it's 1:06. It's 1 a.m. where I'm at, and it's 4 p.m. where you are. So you owe me.
Yeah. I thought you was canceling a flight to do this. It's one of those where everybody's already in the airport and they say, excuse me, our pilot has gotten sick. We're going to have a layover. And Frank's really just doing a podcast. So for everybody who's trapped in India right now, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Now, I guess all this time I thought, and this was my mistake. I just thought when you said I moved to Alaska to hunt and I'm a pilot, I took that to mean that you were like a bush pilot, like taking people in and out of the bush.
No, I mean, I kind of learned that once I moved up there. I'd flown little airplanes in Texas, working my way up through the airline aviation system. But then when I moved to Alaska, then I started flying planes in the bush and hunting with them and fishing with them and stuff. So, that's a whole nother area. I mean, you can fly planes all around Kansas and Oklahoma and Texas and Cessnas and stuff, but it's a different type of flying in Alaska, the extremes of the weather and the bush flying. So that's just something it's hands on. You got to get up there and experience it and learn. So that's something I did when I got up there.
So do you do more like overseas, like long travel, or do you do like, Denver to Arizona type flights too?
No, for my job, I do mostly international flying, like I'm at now, like I'm in India and going to Germany in a couple of days. And I came from Vietnam, went to Vietnam first. So, I mean, I go to, Beijing, or not Beijing much anymore, but Shanghai and Hong Kong and Seoul and all up and down the Pacific Rim and Dubai all the time. And so I do that for my job to pay for bow hunting and to pay for the bush planes that I fly in Alaska for my adventures and my bow hunting and stuff.
That is really cool, man. Now, do you ever use that? Like, well, I'm already going to be in India, so I might as well hunt. Like,
no, I haven't really done that. I mean, I've done some back before I flew international. When I did fly around the continental U.S., to Denver and Billings and places like that. I did do a lot of leg work and scouting and stuff for hunts back in those days, when I was working and traveling. But on these international trips, there's not much. I don't do any hunting on them. I do a lot of research and stuff like I'm doing with you now, talking to people and applying for tags and filling out applications and studying and trying to learn things.
Now, do you do a lot of international hunting, or do you stick to North America?
I don't do any international hunting, and a lot of my friends think I should and try to encourage me to do it. For some reason, I'm just not interested in it. It just doesn't interest me right at this point in my journey. Just, I moved to Alaska for all the adventures and all the different species that I have in Alaska to hunt and the flying my Super Cub and doing all that. I mean, I still haven't done half of what I could do in Alaska, so I just put all my energy in North America, down hunting the deer in Mexico, and I'm, still hunting some in the lower 48 for certain species, and then all across Alaska. I mean, never run out of those hunts to do, so I'm just trying to concentrate to do find the best hunts and get the best animals I can and try to find the best trophies and hunt the best places in North America instead of spreading myself thin all across the international spectrum like some people do in Africa. I've never been to Africa yet. I'll probably go someday. It just doesn't interest me yet,
Yeah. Now, have you ever hunted internationally? Ever, like at all?
I mean, not Africa. I'm just Canada and Mexico is all I've ever hunted. Canada and Mexico.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting, man, because you talk to guys and say they kill a 200-inch whitetail and you're like, where do you go from here? Like, you're only a white, and I say only a whitetail hunter. That's 90% of what I hunt too. But, how do you keep challenging yourself if you've already punched a 200? Like, you can't just keep getting bigger. And so for somebody who has literally completed the highest peak of all 29 animals in North America. Now, here's another question for you. Do you have all 29 in the books? Have you killed book animals of all 29?
I think I've only got one that doesn't make the book, so I don't have a Pope and Young Super Slam. I do not. I need a central bearing ground caribou. If I had a central bearing ground caribou that's Pope and Young, then I'd have all of them. I'd have enough of the 20, and I'd have all of them that would make Pope and Young mineral.
Wow. So again, though, you're one away from having all of them in the book, which would be the highest of achievement. That being said, most guys would start to look at, okay, well, now I'm going to, go overseas, start hunting, different country, different animals, different species. How do you, as somebody who has completed all 29, how do you continue to push yourself and drive yourself? How do you continue to say, all right, well, this is what I've achieved. This is what I want to, keep pushing towards?
Well, I guess the other reason that I do all this North American hunting and I haven't went overseas is I like to be more involved in my hunts, and I like to do the work on my own hunts and my own scouting, my own research, and I like to hang my own tree stands and put up my own tent and stuff like that. And on a lot of these international hunts and stuff, you're not going to do that. You're flying in and you're going to be fully guided, which I've been on lots of fully guided hunts too in Canada and so forth. But so I like to be more hands-on and do the work and do the research and do the scouting and do the packing and the backpacking. and I guess that's another thing that keeps me at home, keeps me in North America and in Alaska and down in Mexico, because I can, scout my own ranches. And I mean, you have tons of whitetails too. And I mean, you're just not going to shoot one whitetail in Kansas and be done for life, right? I mean, it's like a whitetail hunting is addiction of its own, right? I mean, we can never get enough of it. So I just have that on all these other different animals. I've killed, 16 mountain goats. I mean, that's another thing I'm pretty proud of with my bow, 16 mountain goats. But
Jiminy Christmas.
But I love mountain goat hunting, and I just, I'm not done with it because they're just fun to hunt. They're great they're super challenging. And so I just,
Now, is there a species where you're like, okay, that I've had enough of that? Like that, it was fun. Glad I did it, but I'm not going to go on anymore.
I don't
I'm not going to
so.
seek these out.
Not on the 29. I don't think so. I mean, I like every one of them. They all have their own differences, and whether you're up in the Arctic hunting muskox or polar bears, or you're out in the desert, I mean, I like all the North American hunting. It's all challenging and very fun and enjoyable.
Do you do any kind of other hunting? I mean, waterfowl, turkey, any other thing other than big game animal?
Maybe a little bit of turkey hunting, but I'm not big into turkey hunting by any means. Mostly it's just mostly big game animal. I'm
glad you say that, because turkey hunting is stupid.
Yeah. I like to go and watch other people do it. I like to be the cook, and I like to watch turkey hunters that are really good at it, calling them and talking to them, and it's pretty fun. But I shot a lot of them in Texas growing up, in the fall, and because there's a ton of them in Texas. So I shot my share of them growing up as a kid. So I guess they just don't really get me super excited like the big game does.
Now, what's next for Frank? Like, what's your next hunt?
What's my next hunt? I think I got my next hunt. I'm probably coming out your way in just about a week. I think I'm going to come out Kansas and do a little trimming and put some seats in some tree stands, and probably set a couple sits, and not get too serious because I want to go back and hunt in November. But I would shoot one if the right one comes along. But I'm gonna be out there in about a week, and so that'll be mid-October in Kansas, and then I'm going to Kodiak and hunt Sitka black-tailed deer out there on Kodiak in Alaska.
Frank is the type of guy where I continually give him the offer of like, hey, I can come and hunt with you and just shoot your smaller ones. Like, just shoot the ones that you don't want to shoot. And I keep telling him that here in Kansas. I'm like, dude, I will do your dirty work and kill your management bucks. Like, I can do that for you. Why? Because his management bucks are bigger than any bucks I've ever killed in my lifetime. So it's like that offer still stands. Like, next time you see a big old buck and you're like, he's big, but he's not big enough for me, you just call old Dylan. Yeah, I might look at him and say he's too big for me. But, I don't want to shoot him that big, Frank.
Yeah.
I don't pass up 125s to get a 145. That's my motto.
I hear you. Yeah, it's a shame I don't hunt the same Kansas spots that I used to, because I used to drive probably pretty close to your house back when I was younger, driving up from Dallas to Kansas. I'd come right about 35. Now I fly into Kansas City and drive south instead of leaving Dallas and flying and driving north. So,
well, hey, sounds like you're still only a couple hours from me, maybe. So,
okay,
I can still we can still get her done there, Frank. And that's what I appreciate about you, is it's not just like, you talk to a lot of guys who have accomplished a lot of things and like, I'm not big on whitetails. You sit in a tree stand and wait, there's not much to it. Which, I'm not here to say that physically whitetail hunting is anywhere near an elk hunt, much less a sheep hunt, or, even an antelope hunt where you're running across the plains all day in the blazing heat. Like, I get that there's a lot more physically challenging hunts, but whitetail is a year-long chess match, whereas if I fly out to chase elk or something, like I got 7 days to do it. Whereas with whitetail, it's like, man, I'm constantly running cameras. I'm constantly moving tree stands and playing this year-long chess match with these deer. That being said, I appreciate that you're a guy who has accomplished a lot of things, but you're still like, man, I'll get down in a tree stand in Kansas, and have a good time doing it. Do you try to do most of your hunting spot and stock style, in a blind, in a tree stand? What's your preferred method of chasing animals?
Whitetails. You mean whitetails primarily, or all animal?
Anything. Like, if you could pick, I always want to spot and stalk I always want to sit over water. I always want to, find a spot, hang a stand, sit. Like, what would be your preferred method?
Man, I've done all of them that you just said, and do whatever's the best at the time. I mean, in Kansas, I obviously hunt a lot of tree stands and ground blinds. In Alaska, I'd say definitely the vast majority of all the hunting up there is spot and stalk for the species in Alaska. I've stalked pronghorn antelope out west and shot them. I've shot a lot of them on water holes. I mean, I love sitting in blinds. I sit in blinds down in Mexico over water for the cows deer. Hours and hours, days. I've got months of time sitting if I had to add it up, and all the time I've spent in blinds down in Mexico cows deer hunting. So no, I love blind hunting. I love all those types of hunting. And back to the whitetail, yeah, I tell people, all this hunting that I've done and all the brown bears and mountain goats and the harder to get species that I shoot, doll sheep, and I still can't get enough of the whitetail hunting. I mean, nothing can block the whitetail out. Nothing can take the place of the whitetail. I don't know if it's because I was, born and raised in Texas and that's how I started. Maybe like you in Kansas, that's how a lot of us start hunting is with whitetails because it's the most available to most people. But, there's just whitetails just like its own. There's nothing that I get the feeling from whitetail. So that's why I'm still spending as much time in Kansas as I can every year.
I think for a lot of guys that it's the variety of antler configurations that you're going to see and find. And I don't know if this is true for you, but I've asked a lot of measures, like what's the hardest animal to measure? And a lot of them say whitetails because their antlers are so different. Like there's never two racks that are the same. Like they're always just, there's so much variety. And if you listen to this show at all, I love bear hunting. But it's not because there's a ton of variety. I mean, even if you're in a color phase area, there's only, 4 or 5 different colors of them. But with deer hunting, man, it's just, you see some freaky stuff, double main beams and drop tines and, just a beautiful, perfectly symmetric basket rack 8, like it's just as pretty as one that's got junk flying everywhere. And like, there's so much variety in the animal itself that it continues to just stay special because it's never like, okay, well, I've killed one. Like that was cool. There's just so much variety in the antlers, and it blows my mind. I continue to find people that kill elk and mule deer and antelope and grizzlies, and they hunt all these crazy cool species. And they're like, yeah, I've always wanted to try and hunt a whitetail. And I'm like, you've never hunted whitetail? Like, and they're like, yeah, I just never have. Or vice versa, or not vice versa, but in the same breath, they're like, yeah, I don't want to just go sit in a tree stand and wait for a deer to walk by. There's no challenge in that. And our boy Timmy Rzuski. Tim, I hope you're listening because I'm about to trash you to death. He was one of those guys that always said that to me. He's like, oh, yeah, Mr. Eastern, sit in a tree stand and wait for him to walk by. You don't even hunt, giving me all that crap. And then he comes down to hunt in Oklahoma. And I don't remember if he missed 2 or 3 deer, but he was like, man, as soon as they come out, they look right up and see if you're in that tree stand. And I'm like, yeah, it ain't as easy as you think, big dog. Like it ain't just sit and let them walk by and shoot them. Like there's a lot of work that goes into it.
Yeah. There's a lot of technique and tricks and stuff and tree stand hunting and blind hunting. But yeah, I've got a lot of friends out west too that, they don't understand the whitetail phenomenon that we live. They don't get it because they didn't grow up hunting whitetails, and they're all spot stock hunts, and all my Arizona bow hunting friends and all those guys, they're doing a little bit of it now. They get a little bit of it now, but I don't think they get there's addicted to it as people that are from the Midwest or from Texas that hunted whitetails growing up and started at a real young age,
For me, it goes back to that year-long chess match piece of like, don't get me wrong, it's really cool to go out and just try to find an elk and kill it. It's really cool to go out and just try and find a bear and kill it. But with whitetails, it's like, man, I saw this deer pop out with spots, and I've had him on camera for the last 7 years. Like I know everything there is to know about this deer. And my children are invested in the deer. Like from year to year, they're like, oh, dad had the big 8 at 20 yards last year, but didn't kill it. Like maybe he'll be something special this year and dad will kill him. Like they've seen the storyline of like, man, my dad is really invested in the life of these deer. It's not just go out and kill one. And I think that's part of it for me, man. Like, you get to know these deer. You get to watch them grow up. You get to see what their antlers do over the years. You find their sheds. You've had encounters with them over the years, and you've watched this buck, fight this buck. And then like, it's just, you learn these deer, and it's something special, man, that you don't get with a lot of other species.
Yeah. Yeah. That's how whitetail hunting is. I mean, it's a whole nother, we could do a whole nother 10 podcasts just on whitetail hunting, as you know. I mean, it's what most people hunt. It's more people hunt whitetails than any other big game species in North America by far.
If you've got taxidermy in your house, any shape, form, or fashion, doesn't matter. Euro mounts, full body mounts, turkey fans, I don't care. If you've got any kind of taxidermy, or if you want to prep your animals in the field in order to get the best taxidermy work done possible, you need to check out Velvet Antler Technologies. Listen, it is not just for velvet antlers. Do not tune me out and say, well, I don't chase velvet bucks. I don't kill velvet bulls. It does not matter. If you want to preserve your trophies in the field, whitetail, antelope, bear hides, if you want to preserve your trophy in the field and get it to the taxidermist in the best shape possible, they've got products for that. If you want to get those European mounts as white as possible, they've got products for that. If you want to take care of your trophies while they're on the wall, keep them clean, keep the bugs out of them, they've got products for that. If you've got blood in your clothes from packing out those animals, they've got you covered. Or if you want to do some turkey fans, they've got you covered. Hanging the Euro mounts on the wall, they've got you covered. They're your one-stop shop for all things trophies and all things field care in order to get your trophies looking the best they can. Guys, go check out Velvet Antler Technologies before you go on your next hunt and ensure you get your trophy back in the best condition possible. So what has been some of the craziest, encounters that you've had?
Oh man, that's a tough question. I mean, I've had
charged by bears, bitten by rattlesnakes. What do we got?
I got charged. Yeah, I got attacked by a grizzly bear. That's a kind of the big story that
actually attacked.
I got knocked down. Yeah, I didn't get hurt, but I did get the bear.
What?
Yeah, I did get jumped on by a grizzly bear. I was on a Dall sheep hunt in Alaska, like maybe 4 or 5. I probably only lived in Alaska 3, 4, 5 years, and I had not killed a Dall sheep yet with my bow. So I was on a mission to get my first Dall sheep with a bow, and was hiking back to the airplane after hunting for a week or so, and just walked up on a sow and grizzly with 2 cubs. And the wind was real blowing in my face and strong wind. So that's why I walked right up on her, because she didn't hear me. She didn't smell me. She didn't see me. And yeah, it's kind of a surreal experience. I mean, I had my bow strapped to my backpack like I do on all my mountain hunts. I don't carry my bow because you're down on all fours. You're using your hands all the time, climbing through rocks and stuff. So I put my bow I strapped my bow to my backpack, and I just had a walking stick. And that I was using an ice axe back then as a walking stick, with a pointed end, for going through glaciers and so forth like that, for balance and stuff. And that's all I had in my hand. And when that probably about 40 yards, I walked up on this bear about 40 yards, and she looked at me. First of all, she didn't see me. She was eating blueberries, and the cubs were her 2 cubs saw me, and I could just you can tell how animals temperament are. I could tell that the cubs knew I was there, and you could see their nervousness increasing. And so how animals communicate, the cubs communicated that to the mother, and the mother raised her head up real fast and just like locked eyes right, looked right at me. And I mean, it was just like instant. And here she came just like on a dead run. And I mean, I'm like above the tree. I'm above the tree line. There's not even any trees. I'm in the tundra, I'm in the rocks in the tundra. And it was like one of those surreal experiences where it's like, is this really happening? You know. But anyway, she's coming at me and fast, and I thought, I mean, I didn't have nothing but that ice axe, and I thought I got to use something. So I put the ice axe over my shoulder like a baseball bat, and I thought if she comes all the way, that's all I got. I'm gonna hit her with this ice axe, and that's what I did when she lunged at me, and her head was like, you know, in front of me about the distance of the distance of a bat. I concentrated and swung the ice axe and hit this bear right in the head. And all it did was just push us apart. You know, it didn't hurt the bear, but I absorbed the momentum of her lunging at me because she was lunging at me, and it pushed us apart. And I fell to the ground and rolled around, and she, she was growling, and she stayed and walked around me about 10 yards growling and chomping her teeth. They do that when they're really aggressive. They chomp their teeth. And she did like a circle around me, and I just stayed real low to the ground. I had an old Kelty backpack. This was way before KUIU or Sitka or anything back in those days. I had an old Kelty backpack, and I was laying on my stomach, I remember, and I was just, staying as still as I could. I wanted to pretend like the bear won. I wanted to be submissive, I wanted to be play dead. But I still kept my eye on her. I mean, I turned my head real slow, so out of the corner of my eye, because I thought, she was going to like jump on me again. I want to prepare for impact or whatever, to try to, because in my mind, when she was coming at me, I just went in survival mode. I thought, well, I'm going to probably get a couple stitches, but I'm not going to let this bear kill me. It wasn't a very big bear, probably 7.5 foot, brown bear. It's a brown bear. I think I might have said grizzly, but in that part of Alaska, they're actually brown bears.
And, gosh, dude.
And she went around and got between the cubs and me, and she looked at her cubs, and then she'd look at me, and then she looked at her cubs. She did like 3 double takes, and she was trying to decide whether to like whip up on me a little bit more or go off with her baby cubs. And she ran off with her baby cubs and left me laying there. And I was, like I said, it was like a dream, I was like, I didn't even know it was happening,
Dude, so how long do you think total time she was like standing there waiting,
I think from total time from when I walked up on her till she ran off with the cubs, I bet total time of all that happening, I bet couldn't have been not even 2 minutes, probably, maybe a minute, maybe 60 seconds. I mean, that stuff happens
even
fast,
still, man. That's a long time to lay there wondering if she's going to come attack you again or not. Like, oh my gosh, dude.
So that was pretty exciting. And I didn't even know if she got me, I didn't even know if one of her claws got me, actually, because, your body goes into shock, and that's how the human body protects itself. So I had to kind of pat myself down to make sure, I wasn't hurt. I mean, I skipped my hands up a little bit and stuff just from falling on the rocks, but she didn't hurt me and she didn't get me. When I hit her with that ice axe, it just pushed us apart. And, that was pretty, that was kind of a very crazy experience that I had up there early on in Alaska.
Oh my goodness.
So
now, has that changed anything about what you do when you go into grizzly country? I mean, do you carry a pistol now? Do you bear spray, anything?
It's funny you say that. Because even like when I did the seminar at the Pope and Young convention this year, people are always asking me about bears, and I'm around bears all the time hunting, and pretty comfortable around bears. You just got to be smarter. You just got to hunt smarter around them when you're hunting, deer on Kodiak, or you're hunting caribou, or wherever you're hunting. You just got to, I tell people, just being situationally aware of what's going on, and keeping your distance, and letting bears see you when you want them to see you. Because, bears they're not out looking to kill people and eat people. They don't eat human flesh. That's not part of their diet. These bears are
that's
like
unreal.
These bears are way more scared of humans than we are of them. So
right. You just got attacked by one, homie. Like,
but it's just it was like getting struck by lightning, though. It's just like wrong place at the wrong time. Just like just happened to be in the wrong place. But when I tell people, even if I would have had a gun, in a holster, I couldn't have got it out fast enough.
Couldn't have got to it, yeah.
No, I couldn't have got it out fast enough.
Yeah.
I mean, she was on me so fast. If I'd been hunting ptarmigan or quail or whatever, if I'd had a shotgun, And if I probably wouldn't have had my finger on the trigger, I don't think I could have swung the shotgun fast enough to get on. I mean, that's how fast it happened. So, guns are good to have, and they're definitely, I tell people to take them and bear spray too and everything. But I think just being smart and not getting down in tight spots where there could be bears, and because when you startle bears like that and you run up on them in real close contact, that's when people get hurt. When they see you at 100 yards or 200-300 yards away and they smell you, they turn and run away. There's no way you can catch them. So you just got to be smart, I guess. And things happen. So
that is unreal, man.
But, that's one of the craziest ones.
What's crazy is I can't remember. And I grew up in Arkansas, and I can't ever remember hearing about bear attacks, like ever. And I Googled it the other day, when was the last fatal bear attack? And it was, there's so few and far between. Like not even worth mentioning,
Right.
And just this year, there's been 2 fatal bear attacks in Arkansas from black bears. And it's just like, why? Like what has triggered this? Where did these come from? And I don't know if it's, their people are thinking they're pretty and they're cute and they're feed them in it. They're putting food out to the campsites for them or what, I don't know. But, it's crazy to me, that we're now getting these stories, from Arkansas, 2 in 1 year of fatal bear attacks. It's just like, man, I don't get it. But yeah, I can't. Not that I'm worried about it, because my wife never listens to my podcast anyways, but she can't hear your story. I took her on her first bear hunt, and I was so proud of her, because the tree stand that we were going to be sitting in was like 26, 27 yards from the bait. And I'm like, man, I haven't practiced pin gapping with you. I haven't practiced hold your 20 high or 30 low. I haven't done any of that. And so I'm like, you know what? We're just going to sit on the ground. There was no kind of cover around the 20-yard mark. So I just throw up some sticks, just, pull some brush over, and I'm like, all right, just sit behind this and we're going to shoot a bear. And sure enough, dude, she shot a bear just right there, right in front of her, with some sticks in front of her. But the first bear hunter I took her on, like, we were sitting in a blind, and if she heard a twig snap, she's like, here they come, they're coming to kill me. And I'm like, if you hear them, it ain't a bear. Like, if you're hearing them, it ain't a bear. And so it was funny just going from, the first bear hunt was like 2019, I think. And, she couldn't even sit in a ground blind. Now 2025, she's sitting 20 yards from him with nothing but a couple sticks between her and the bears. But yeah, I can't let her hear that story. That's for sure.
Yeah. I read about that Arkansas bear attack you're talking about, a couple of them recently. And there's a few in Alaska every year, but there's not that, for the amount of people that are out recreating in Alaska, camping, fishing, hunting, hiking, and all that, there's not very many, you know what I mean? So the odds of getting attacked are low. But anything can happen. You just got to be smart and prepare and make good decisions. That's the best thing you can do, when you're out there.
That's crazy, dude. Well, I want to ask you if you've had any other close encounters with any other species, but I don't think anything's going to top actually getting swatted by a bear.
No, that's probably one of the closest ones there. Yeah, that was pretty wild.
You've probably had some close rattlesnake calls.
No, I hadn't really had any close rattlesnake calls. I like snakes. When I'm down in Texas, when I see a rattlesnake, I catch them and bring them back to camp. Drives people crazy. I catch them alive and put them in a sack or put them in my fanny pack or something. I don't even kill rattlesnakes.
I don't want to come hunting with Frank. I like that's now. That's a fact now. So don't invite me down to Mexico, because I'm like, no, you freak. You be with the rattlesnakes, dude. Yeah, my son loves to catch snakes, and here in Kansas, I'm not real worried about it. There's very few poisonous snakes in Kansas, and so I'm not super worried about it. But we took him on that Idaho bear hunt with us, and I'm like, dude, listen to me. Like, if you see snakes, this ain't like home. I don't want you to just reach down there and try to grab it. Because he's been bitten by a snake too. Yeah. Twice actually. And, but of course here they're just little bitty boogers that, little black rat snakes. Anyways, no harm, no foul. But, I'm like, dude, here, you can't just, like, if you see a snake, do not reach down there and pick it up. And, he couldn't compute that. He's like, but it's a snake. I got to catch it. Like, what do you mean? Like if there's a snake, I catch it. And Frank, I hope that he becomes as good of a hunter as he is a catcher, because he'll come up to you all the time. Like just last Wednesday at church, he comes up and he had caught a field mouse. I'm like, how did you do that? Like, 7 years old, field mice are freaking quick. Like, how did you just catch a mouse?
Yeah.
And then at that bear camp, he caught a chipmunk, like stinging, just put out some tortillas, like broke up some tortillas and just stayed there and waited and caught a stinging chipmunk. I'm like, how? Like, how did you do that? Like, so I hope he's half as good a hunter as he is a catcher. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I think he's going to be. It sounds like he's going to be.
What has been what's been the most challenging overall single hunt? Like to just really push you to your limits and, didn't know if you were going to get it done or not.
Oh, some of the sheep hunts, do that. Some of the sheep hunts that push me to limits. That's why I like them so much. My first stone sheep hunt, and my first stone sheep that I killed was a, several day hunt. Might as well just say it was almost a month long hunt. It took as far as travel days and hunt days and stuff to get it done. I didn't ever think I was going to get it done. It's back in, I think, 2002 and out of Fort Nelson, British Columbia. And that's another one that's probably in the top 5, talking about animals that are, harder to get killed in North America, stone sheep. And then some of the Dall sheep hunts early on in Alaska. It took me a while to get that monkey off my back. When I moved to Alaska to get my first Dall sheep killed, I just it was like the lemon that I never could get. But then after I finally killed the first one, and I forget what year it was, but I hunted a couple 3 years in Alaska before I got my Dall sheep. But I finally got one killed, and I killed one I think for the next 3 or 4 years in a row. And then maybe didn't get one the next year, but I started killing them like every year in a row after that. After I just figured it out, I think I was trying too hard.
Yeah. Now that is and that is what sets you apart. And guys like Chuck, like that is the difference of mentality of like, you know what? Doesn't matter if it takes me 7 days or 17 or 32. I'm going to go kill this animal. Like that's the difference. And people are like, how are these guys so successful? They must just be lucky. And I'm like, or they're spending near a month to kill the animal like that. That's the difference is, if I go on an elk hunt, I've got to set aside and say, all right, I've got 8 days. I'm going to be gone for 8 days. I'm going to be hunting for 8 days. And I got to come home at the end of that 8 days. If not, mama's going to be gone and the kids are going to be gone, packed up, and moved out. So I've got 8 days to do this. Whereas, and I've heard, Chuck share stories of 28 days and, you don't even see a deer until, day 24. And it's like, man, that's the difference right there of just that. No matter what, I'm going to go in and I'm going to kill this animal. And it's something that, it really is that killer instinct, like just that killer mentality of like, what, no matter what, I'm going to kill the animal. And some guys have that switch. Some guys don't. Some guys have that just grit and determination and stupidity. I don't know. Hey, I'm going to go kill this animal at all costs, no matter what. And you've definitely got that, man. Like I'm a firm believer. And here's what I'll say. People all the time, going back to people saying, who's the best hunter, I don't even care who's killed the new world record. Like the best elk hunter is not the one who just killed the new world record. The best deer hunter is not the one who just killed the new deer world record. In my opinion, the best hunter is somebody that I can drop off in an area that they've never been to, never got to scout it, never seen it, never been around it. And I say, hey, go get me a blacktail. And they come back in 12 days with a blacktail over their shoulder. Like that, in my opinion, is how I define a good hunter. Not who's killed the biggest, but somebody I can just drop off, throw them in the woods and say, bring me back an elk. And they're going to come back with an elk at all cost. And that's why I consider you one of the best hunters I've ever had the privilege of talking to, is because, take the book out of it, take how many animals you've killed, take the super slams out of it. You're the type of guy that I could drop off in an area they've never been to, in a country you've never hunted overseas. We'll drop you off in a different country and say, hey, here's what the animal looks like. Here's what they eat. Go kill one. And you're going to hunt until you come back with one. That's how I define a good hunter. And you are, by every definition, the best at that.
Well, I appreciate that. I mean, I've lived my life about it. I've, been grew up, like I said, we talked about Texas, and so interested in it, and patterned my life around bow hunting, and moved to Alaska, and just built my career. Got into a career where I could do lots of bow hunting and have the time, like you said, to be able to hunt 20 days or 25 days and stay longer on hunts to make them successful and to be successful. And that's just what my interest is. I don't have any other hobbies really so far. I don't play golf. I don't just do a little bit of fishing, but bow hunting is just, it's just been my way of life for most of my life, nearly way majority of my life now.
And again, that's just what I try to tell people of like, listen, if you really want to make something happen, you can. And no, I mean, I can't just jump up and go on a sheep hunt tomorrow. I don't have that money. In fact, sheep is probably something that at this point in my life, I would consider unobtainable. Like, unless I win a raffle or win a trip, that's, all expense paid for, it's probably unobtainable for me. However, there are still opportunities out there for me to go and chase other animals and do, quote unquote, cool hunts. Cows deer hunt aren't crazy expensive. Bear hunts are not crazy expensive. Mule deer, antelope, those hunts aren't,
right.
Go refinance your home and go on the hunt. You can do those if you make a couple life changes and save some money. And, I've had people laugh at me and make fun of me. And they're like, oh yeah, your wife only gives you so much money to spend. I have a hunting budget. And every month I put money into an account and I say, that's my budget. And if I want to go on an elk hunt, I keep saving that money. If I want to pull money out of that and go buy an Oklahoma tag, I pull money out of that and go buy an Oklahoma tag. Like that is, but in the same breath, people laugh at that and make fun of that. But if you don't do that, then come time where somebody says, hey, you want to go on this elk hunt with me? I don't have the money for that. Well, that's why I purposely set aside money every month and say, this is my hunting budget. And if I want to save it up for a while and do a bigger, cooler hunt, I can. If I want to split it up and go on several different hunts a year, I can. But that's my budget. And man, it keeps a happy wife, keeps money in a spot where if somebody, if a hunt does come up, I can pull from that and go hunt. Like, so just create opportunities for yourself. That's all I would say.
Exactly.
Speaking of that.
Yep.
Speaking of that, I do want to get some tips and tricks for you on how to kill more animals. However, before we do that, I do have to say, Pope & Young just released the first of its kind. We've never done anything like this. And if you want to have more opportunities to go on more cool hunts, here is an opportunity for you. We are calling it our Hunt of the Month raffle. Why am I? Oh, my camera died. That's good. So if you're watching on YouTube, Carbon TV, Waypoint TV, I'm sorry, I no longer have video. I think this happened a few episodes ago too. I got to get better about charging my camera between podcasts. Anyways, Hunt of the Month raffle. It is 13 different hunts. To buy your ticket at a chance for all 13 of those hunts is $1,200. The first 400 get entered to win that bonus hunt, that 13th hunt. So if you're one of the first 400 to buy your full year of raffle tickets, you get in a 1 in 400 chance at winner's choice. That means you get to look at these hunts and pick any of the 13 you want to go on. And before you stop and say they're probably like quail hunts and dove hunts and stuff like that, we're talking world-class mountain goat hunts, Shiras moose hunts, cows deer hunts, elk hunt for 2, antelope hunt for 2, Kansas rut hunt. Like, we've got some incredible hunts lined up for this. You get to chase elk on the world famous Acoma Pueblo. So like these are crazy, crazy hunts that outside of winning this, I would never be able to afford to go on. So when you're one of the first 400, you get a 1 in 400 chance at winner's choice of any of the 13th. After that winner is drawn on January 2nd, we will then assign a hunt to each one of those months, January through December of 2026. At which point people can buy individual tickets. So if you just say, man, I want to go on the Utah Shiras moose hunt, you can just buy a ticket just to be entered for that one. Those tickets will go on sale January 3rd. But if you've already spent the $1,200, that means you got two entries into every single one of those 12 hunts. Individual tickets are $100. So I'm not a smart man, but I can do a little bit of math. That means really by spending $1,200, you're getting $2,400 worth of raffle tickets in those drawings, 2 each month. Or you can wait and just say, hey, I just want to buy 6 entries for the Shiras moose because that's really what I want to hunt. Speaking of that, one of those hunts is a cows deer hunt with the world famous, legendary Frank Noska. So if you've listened to this podcast and you're like, this dude is a straight up G, which he is, I would love to go hunt with this guy. Here's your chance. You can hunt cows, deer down with Frank in Mexico. What's that hunt like, Frank?
I don't think there's a better cows hunt in Mexico. Yeah, I've been down there for 16 years now. I think this is going to be my 16th year hunting cows, deer down there. Got several ranches that I hunt on, that I set blinds on and take hunters on and hunt on myself. We just have a great time, real high success and quality deer. Also, that's the reason I'm hunting the areas that I am down in Sonora, is we kill some really nice sized cows, deer. Fun hunt, and blind, mostly 99% hunting out of blinds over water holes. And we do some baiting down there also, but hunting a lot of water in the desert. Yeah, just bring your normal whitetail stuff, just like you hunt in Kansas with. And yeah, great success and great weather, great food, great people. That's why I spend the better part of a couple months down there every year chasing cows, deer.
Now, not only for hunting with you, but people seem to get a little squirmish of like, man, how do you get bows and guns and stuff across the border? What are the challenges of hunting in Mexico when it comes to the logistics of that?
It's super easy flying to Sonora, flying to Hermosillo, Mexico, where my hunters and I fly into out of Phoenix. So you got to fly to Phoenix, and then from Phoenix, there's 1 or 2 flights a day, normally only one, on American Airlines from Phoenix to Hermosillo. It's about a 50-minute flight. For archery equipment, you don't need any kind of paperwork at all. You just check your bow case at the ticket counter, and it flies into Mexico, no problem. And there's I do take some gun hunters every year down there also hunting, and it's fairly easy. I can get them gun permits, but it is a little bit more, takes a little bit more time, and there is some paperwork to get gun permits down there. But no, flying to Mexico with your hunting equipment and is not a problem at all. And then when you get your animal, flying back to your home, flying back out of Mexico to Arizona, and then back to your home, is easy to take your antlers with you, and your deer cape, and even some meat. If you wanted to take some meat with you, you can take all the meat with you also if you want. Some of my hunters take meat home with them. Most of the time I share the meat with the ranchers and the landowners down there, and we eat some of it at the camp also. But some of the hunters do bring meat back to the States.
Is it pretty good table fare?
Very good table fare, yeah. Yeah.
How does it compare to whitetail?
I think it might be a little better than the whitetails there in the Midwest. Might be just a little bit better.
Really?
Yeah. Not as much of it, they're not near as big, so you don't get as much of it. But it's venison. It's pretty darn tasty.
Wow. Now I might have to come down to old Mexico and shoot cows, deer. And then I mentioned one of the other hunts that a lot of people are really, really interested in, really, really excited about, is a Utah private land Shiras moose hunt. That's one of the 13. And Frank, you've actually been on this very hunt. Am I correct?
Yeah. That was my third Shiras moose that I needed for my third Super Slam. I went and hunted on that ranch. Dallas Smith there in Utah helped me with that. He's the one that's, I think, the lead on this hunt. And I flew into Salt Lake City, and he picked me up. We went to the ranch and started seeing game right off the bat. I mean, just a fabulous hunt. Saw all kinds of elk and just game-rich game all over the ranch, but started seeing, quite a few moose. And I didn't hunt very many days. I don't know if I shot that animal on the second or third day, but I know I don't think I had to hunt very many days before I was able to stock up and shoot a nice, mature Shiras moose.
That's what I like to hear, man. I mean, because if I'm investing some money and going on a hunt, I want it to be a good hunt. And sounds like with this, if you've ever wanted to kill a big old Shiras moose, this is probably one of your best chances to do it.
Yeah, I don't see how you could go to that ranch and not not be successful, to tell you the truth.
That's cool, man. So what you're saying is if whoever wins this doesn't kill one, they just suck. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I did a podcast with an outfitter one time, and he was talking about bear hunting with him. You know, what his bear hunts are like. And he said, I'll just say this. If you hunt with me and you don't shoot a bear, you pretty much just suck. Like, you're just a terrible hunter. And he said there was a guy who, you know, he was probably more in it for the camp mentality, just sitting around drinking beer all night, you know, having fun with the buddies. But he said he had been 3 or 4 years and never killed a bear. And he said he showed up to camp that next year and he was wearing a T-shirt that says "Waylon says I suck." So whoever wins this, if you don't kill a mega stud Shirus, you gotta wear a shirt that says "Dylan and Frank say I suck."
Yeah, no,
I'm just kidding.
Ranch. It's an awesome spot, and I was very fortunate that Dallas helped me get that tag, and because Shirus moose they're one of the species that are definitely hard to secure a tag to hunt there in North America. There's not near as many opportunities to hunt those as the other species.
Yeah. Yeah. And you get your tag with this. So this is a all in and done. You're going to Utah to hunt Shirus moose on private land. So again, I would highly encourage you to at least go check out these hunts, because these are 13 incredible world-class hunts that you should definitely go check out. You can go to pope-young.org and get more information, view all the hunts. There's some videos on there to explain to you how it all works, how you can buy your tickets, when you can buy your tickets, what all you get with your ticket purchases, all of that sort of stuff. Just go to pope-young.org and learn more information about the hunt of the month. And if you want to wait until January 2nd, you're not great at math, you can't figure out that the $1,200 is a fantastic deal. Well, all I'll say is wait till January 2nd and buy your individual tickets, but it's not the smartest thing you could do. Frank, what would you tell the person listening? Just your simple tips to kill more, bigger, better animals.
Just it's like anything in life. The more you put into it, the more you're going to get out of it. So the more you practice with your bow hunting equipment to become efficient and effective and accurate and confident. You have to have confidence in your equipment, before you even go hunting and before you even go in the field for whatever species you're after. And then for whatever animal you're hunting, whether it's like we were talking about pronghorn antelope out west and mule deer and elk, just put your time in talking to people, networking with people from Pope and Young and other bow hunters and people at archery shops around where you live. And there's a lot on the internet too. You can do tons of research on the internet nowadays that I didn't have early on when I started bow hunting. But you're going to get out of it whatever you put into it. It's like anything in life. If you just barely try, then you're probably the chance of success is going to be pretty low. But if you're really into it and you really want to be successful, and then go all in and put everything you can in it, and you usually make your own success by the hard work.
Yeah, absolutely, man. What would you say, going back to that killer instinct and just, hey, at all costs, I'm going to get this done. That's something that's hard to learn, something that's hard to acquire. What would you say mentality wise going into a hunt? How do you keep your mind right and just like, hey, it's going to suck. I'm going to face rain, snow, grizzly bear attacks. Like this is going to be a tough hunt, but how do you keep your mind right to say, hey, I'm going to get this done?
Well, it's funny you talk about your mind, because I think that's your mind has to be, having your mind strong is more important than I think body strength, having a mental strength and to face tough times and problems along hunts, cold and wet and broken trucks and planes and tents that blow away and bear attacks and everything. You just got to have a strong mind and a good positive attitude. You have to be be able to adapt to all kind of situations, because every hunt you go on, it's not, you have this idea of whatever, even hunts I go on that I've never been on, when I go to a new ranch or something, I have an idea of what to expect, and it's never what you expect when you get there. It's always, it may be better than you expect. It may be, worse than you thought it was going to be. So you just, every hunt's not going to be exactly what you think it's going to be when you roll in. So you got to adapt and adjust and keep a positive attitude and a hunt success happens in seconds. You can be on a 5-day hunt, a 10-day hunt, and it can be super tough, but I mean, it can be a success, and the animal can show up, and you can make a killing shot, and it can happens in seconds. So you just have to stay in the game. That's the one thing, you got to stay in the game. Don't give up. Keep trying, keep getting up every morning, getting in the tree stand or getting on top of the mountain glassing. And yeah, I guess that's that killer instinct. You just got to keep trying, keep looking, and look for opportunities, and an opportunity will present itself. If you keep looking, a window of opportunity will show up. You just got to keep looking for it. And that's what makes those hunts so rewarding when it happens after a super tough hunt. Those are the ones you remember, because it just took you, it just stretched you to the end of your strength and your time and everything. And when it all happens and you become successful, then those are the ones that you are the most memorable and the ones that you talk about for years to come.
Yeah, and just remember, Fred Eichler told me one time, he said the way I stay in it is I remember that my odds are better on day 7 than they were on day 1. And I continue that my odds aren't getting worse. They're getting better because I've weeded out areas. I've learned, okay, that area is not good. I've eliminated areas and I've increased my odds the more I've hunted. And so by the end of day 7, some people think like, well, it's getting towards the end, I'm pretty much done. But your odds are better then than when you started. So just keep hunting and keep remembering, like Frank just said, it can happen at any time, and it doesn't take long when it does. So don't get discouraged and hang in there. Right. Now you're still not much of like a gear junkie. I mean, you just kind of shoot what works and keep hunting it, right?
Yeah, I mean, I try to use the best gear I can get, obviously, and but I don't change gear all the time. When I get a bow set up, I don't like to get a new bow every 6 months by any means, because I just want to get comfortable with the bow and gear, and yeah, I can use a lot of the same gear for quite a while.
Well, and the reason I asked that is because you said something that I think has a lot of value to it, and that's knowing your equipment. And so not only by not buying a new bow every year do you save money to go on more hunts, but you've just become more and more acquainted with that equipment, and that equipment in and out, and you've hunted with it all over the world, and you've killed animals with it, and you've shot it, year after year. And so that's another piece to this is, there's something to be said about keeping the same bow and just learning it, knowing it, how it shoots, what it likes, what it doesn't like. So that's why I was curious to know that. And I thought, based off conversations, that's pretty much still how you were. And no, not insinuating by any means that you don't care the quality of your gear, but once you find good gear, that's just what we stay with. I don't have to swap things out every other hunt. Right.
I mean, this quality of gear nowadays, I mean, the bows, all the bow companies, all the bows are, super good quality bows, and they last a long time. And the kind of clothes that we have now, and just the gear that we have now, all the hunting gear is just super top notch. And if you just take care of it, it'll last a long time, and you don't have to, it doesn't break too much anymore. I mean, it stays tuned. These bows stay in tune these days, nothing like in the old days,
Yeah.
When I first started.
Absolutely.
So yeah, anyway.
Well, Frank, man, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you coming on. It was, it's as always, it was a pleasure to talk to you. And I just love hearing the stories and seeing that smile, man, just makes my day better, man.
Well, yeah, sorry it took me so long for you to entrap me for the podcast, but let's not let so much time pass, and we'll do another one.
Yeah. Well, it was my fault last time at convention. You said, hey, let's sit down and do a podcast. And I got too busy and didn't get a chance to sit down and do a podcast. But otherwise, I would have done this back in April in person. Guys, one of the easiest and cheapest ways to upgrade your bow is with a custom set of strings. A lot of people make custom strings, but very few people do it as well as dominant strands. Now, the reason I believe they do it really well is because Lewis over there at Dominant Strands, he has years of experience in the industry. His customer service is phenomenal. He offers an incredible wide range of different materials to build your next set of strings out of. And he just knows archery. Lewis is the guy, if I've got a bow that I just can't figure out, I call Lewis. He is incredibly informed, and he's ready to help you build the best set of strings for your bow. Go to dominant-strands.com and get your next bowstring today. Now, I tell everybody, the moment you get a recurve, the best and cheapest and easiest way to make that recurve faster, quieter, and shoot better is to get a custom string. Lewis makes a phenomenal string for a recurve. Guys, go to dominant-strands.com, use code typical10 to get 10% off your entire order, whether that's a set for your compound, a set for your crossbow, a new string for your recurve, any material, any colors. That code is going to get you 10% off your entire order. Dominant Strands, go check them out. But Frank, man, thank you so much for coming on. Everybody, thank you so much for listening. Hope everybody has a fantastic week, a good season. Hopefully you get out there and chase some animals and create new opportunities for yourself to go out there and chase animals. But thanks for listening. Have a fantastic week and keep the dusty side up.